Looks like we're recording, so let's go ahead and fire this thing up. Welcome, everybody. It's been 2 weeks since our last Friday forum, which seems crazy. I don't think we've missed one. I don't know. I don't think we've ever missed one, maybe once. So welcome, and we'll jump right into it. So recent achievements for the last 2 weeks. Big one here, IRB was submitted for our first study with USF. Dr. Allison Hall was on the Friday forum a few weeks ago, so you'll remember her. And this is going to be a metabolic study in collaboration with Don Biagostino. Very excited, obviously, to be taking our first bite on the research program. Haney, formerly known as Mike Haney, is our content director, and he has launched a new editorial calendar in Notion. And this is live and driving our content platform. So check that out, and definitely looking forward to seeing this thing get real efficient. And I think our first blog post that was, I think Haney's first blog post went live today, right? So congratulations on that. Good to see you jumping right in. Biograph, which is a company we've been communicating quite a bit about, they're looking to be the future of clinical practice, are interested in moving forward with a levels pilot for their patients. And this is a really premium, super premium company. They're doing some very cool things. And so this is quite exciting. This conversation has been ongoing for some time. Looking forward to that. Absolutely mind-blowing stats from the Broken Brain episode that Casey absolutely crushed. $116,000 in revenue in 2 weeks. And for context, I think it took 13 weeks for Kevin Rose, which was the next biggest show we did, or potentially even larger. I'm not quite sure. Took 13 weeks to get to the same level. And so this is crazy trajectory. Goes to show that A, Casey crushed it, and B, there are certain audiences, I think, that are just super receptive to the message. So this is super cool. Another big one, we passed 10,000 followers on Instagram. This is supposedly a big deal. I didn't quite understand how big a deal it was, but now you can like swipe up and go to a direct link. So we don't have to do some link out, like, Linktree thing. This is the professional, this is the pro leagues of social media, I think, and we've made it. So thank you, Stacy and Mercy and Mega and everyone else who has been responsible for just, taking our social presence live. Let's see, app developments. This is the stuff David's going to cover, but we're working on in-app sleep, in-app content. So replacing just like the blog rendering and then referring a friend, all exciting things. So I'll let him take that next, but obviously there's been a ton in work the last few weeks. And then a big one is focusing on community. So I'm going to zoom in here for a second. We've had some amazing members come through the levels beta thus far. And one in particular, Dorothy Kilroy, is she's the global head of community for Airbnb, and she's very interested in coming aboard and helping advise us on building our own community out. And so over the course of a few conversations, she just has some amazing ideas, which we're going to be fleshing out further in the next few months. But first and foremost, and starting with this meeting, I'd like to just have everyone start with this small thing that I think has really big implications, which is referring to our customers as members. And so that's the first step to having them feel a part of something much bigger than something much longer than just a 28-day experience. So I'm gonna start retraining my brain for that vocabulary, and definitely encourage everyone else to do the same. Wearable Challenge Cohort 4. So you'll see a graph here on the right side of the screen, which shows the results from Wearable Challenge Cohort 4. This is very initial. I think we got 30 responses out of the 58 people that went through, but you can see a pretty nice relationship between body mass index and weight loss, average weight loss over the cohort. And that's exciting, right? It's the people who have the most to lose who lost the most. And so all this without any rigid dietary requirements. This is just keeping your blood sugar in zone. So exciting stuff. We kicked off cohort 5 as well, and moving straight into the next one. A couple other big things. Mike Barwis had, I think it was Tony who did our video in New York, and Tony went down to Barwis's facility and recorded this promotional video, and several other athletes. And so this is going to be exciting. A lot of great content that we got there. Casey made her first live TV appearance for Cheddar, and that was just a smash hit. Amazing job. It was so cool to see you up there, live with the New York Stock Exchange in the background. A couple of the big ones. We spoke with Kevin Love, who is an NBA All-Star and plays for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Awesome guy, very supportive of our mission. We've had a couple of the big conversations in the past few weeks. You'll see Tony Robbins on the screen. You'll see Toby from Shopify. All these people are supporters of us. They want to get involved. They want to help us either by trying the product and talking about it, or potentially getting even more invested in the company and our mission. So exciting couple of weeks. Dave Asprey posted the first video of of levels on his social media. And another just exciting thing, this is real member data. This is two different people. I've posted charts from their monthly reports that they posted on social, and it's just staggering. Like the degree of improvement across different folks over just 4 weeks is something that you would have to honestly see to believe. And I love that people are taking this monthly report and they're using it as a proof of work or a proof of improvement and posting it all over social. So, and other people are noticing, right? So somebody else retweeted it and said, I've never seen a levels user do worse. So people are noticing this. Okay, so let's see, a couple other things on the screen that I haven't touched on, but overall, just big 2 weeks. Thanks to everybody for crushing it. Over to David.
We'll start with Andrew today.
Yeah. So covering a few of the engineering infrastructure-y things that don't have good UI, I tried to get a picture of how working on this, and this is the closest I can get. So experiments are, I think you've probably heard us talk about them before. It's a ability to turn on and off features for groups of people as quickly as possible. Right now, it's very clunky how we're doing it. And so how is exploring the next phase of this that'll make it really easy to add users in and out of groups. And so like, for example, if you're testing a new beta app, you can take your user out of any special groups and see what a normal customer's experience is like. So that'll be really exciting. You go next. So Jinlu has been working on the next version of DayScore. It has a really interesting proposal for how we can collect ranking related information between. And so there'll be actually an exercise where everyone can participate soon. And there's a little a retool, we'll call it a game that you can play. But so stay tuned for that. The outcome of this will be scores that make a lot more sense, like the directionally, where it's we don't have circumstances where someone gets a lower score that we would actually think they're doing better than a higher score. And as also a side effect of this, we'll have a little bit better explainability. So be able to say, what are the reasons that you have the score you have. And so stay tuned for all of this. It'll be kind of a longer term project, but the outcome of this will be a lot more resilient scoring in our app.
All right, cool. So one of the other things we've been working on is in-app content. And the last time we met, I previewed this screen where customers, if you get a bad score or a good score, oftentimes you want to know, well, what should I do next to improve? And so we don't have a great contextual content experience there where we could say, hey, here's a short video, here's some like short tips that you can do for that. And then also in the Learn module, which is packed full of our great blog content, it's sort of overwhelming, and stylistically, it's it's just iframing in the blog. So you're in the Levels app, it feels like Levels, and then you hit an article, and it feels like, whoa, what's this? Oh, it's the Levels website, just kind of injected into the app. So John's been working on a proof of concept for in-app native experience for content consumption, and you can go to the next slide. And I recorded a video. I created one of these videos, so yeah, take a look. This is the in progress implementation, but this is all rendered in the new in-app content experience. The style is not there yet, but essentially we now have these rich formats where you can, tap it once, it loads a video, tap it once, it loads an article, tap it once, it loads a video plus an article. You'll see here that the content it's not styled right yet, but this is in progress. But pretty soon we'll just add a layer of styling on there, and it'll look very seamless and like it was built for the app. And you can opt into that 20-second video with words, things like that, if that's your MO, or you can read the text if that's your MO, or you can ignore it. So great stuff there. Next slide. Cool. And Gabriel has been working on pulling in sleep from Apple Health and Google Fit into the Levels app. So pretty soon, maybe today, but very soon, you'll be able to demo this, integrating, you can pull in your sleep data from Apple Health and Google Fit. The very first thing that we're doing is just simply putting that on the graph and just letting you know it's sleeping. This is not fully styled yet either. But then thereafter, you can see a mock on the right. We'll have like a sleep details page where you can see what was your waking glucose, what was your average glucose overnight. Not really sure exactly what else would be useful here. So if you have ideas of what would be useful for your sleep and that kind of data, let us know. But this will be rolling out pretty soon. And the primary thing this is going to help with is just, like Levels does, it's gaining that metabolic awareness. So once you can see that like wake up point, then you can see, oh, wow, it looks like I started rising like an hour before waking up. And that wake up icon is right at the peak of my glucose rise. that's interesting. What does that mean? So stuff like that can just provide context. Next slide. So we also, Mario implemented this integration with a new tool called Instabug, which makes it really easy for customers to either submit a feature request or report a bug. And what's nice about this is that it'll pipe in automatically to our internal system, Clubhouse, for managing those. And then we can close the loop with customers very simply by responding to them when the fix has been rolled out. So that'll be great. And I suggest everyone start using this with your testing. Just shake your phone to launch this, this modal interface and do your bug reports that way. Next slide. And then another cool thing, a new idea that we have is oftentimes people ask us to like, hey, can I get my friends into levels? John's been working on a feature and Sam's been speccing this out, a feature to have an in-app referral link. So every customer gets their own referral code and they can share that as much as they want with their friends. There's also some backend features that we can configure these codes so that you can make them limited time use. So like maybe you can only refer 3 people and then your code expires, something like that. This is in progress and excited to see it go live in the near future. Next slide. And then beyond that, there's been several other really important things that have been going on that are a little smaller or not visual, but I've kind of bucketed them here into iterate on the product, improve the product quality, and then scaling levels. So you can imagine we don't want to just launch new features, but we want to make sure that we launch them, listen to feedback, iterate on them, make sure that they're actually hitting the intended problem we're solving for customers. And so to that end, there's a bunch of work that went out to improve the experience getting your monthly report, the auto flag for strenuous exercise. We originally had that at +30 spike, but now it's at +20 because it wasn't sensitive enough, and a variety of other things. And then in terms of improving the product quality, Gabriel fixed a rendering issue with the catalog. Super important that things look the way they should. And John pushed out a fix to deep link crashing. There's some backend stuff. Andrew, did you want to touch on any of the backend scale operations or?
Yeah, just calling out a few of the other products that are ongoing. I'm sure several people have seen, had some scaling challenges recently. And so coming up with elegant solutions for that. Jinlu has also been thinking about long-term data storage, specifically to make it really easy to protect the privacy of all of our customer data. And so having like clean access policies and stuff like that. Yeah, and I don't know if you, I don't remember if you mentioned, Hal made it really easy for us to generate other people's reports, which is really cool.
Sweet. Any questions?
Awesome. Great update. Mike.
Awesome updates. So we had 25 calls, and really quickly, I should just give a quick update there. Going forward, we're going to reduce the volume of our calls with our, I almost said customers, I should say members, in an attempt to go deeper on these conversations so that we can better understand their needs and what they want. Just quickly, 2 key themes just want to highlight around education and content. We continue to hear that our members love our content, but want an easier way to engage and almost have more of a curated experience. I heard from a couple people use the questions we ask when they're signing up to target and make the content experience a little bit more curated. I think I talked with David and Jinlu about that a couple times. And then the second part is community. People want to continue to be a part of Levels, even if they're not actively using the product. And what I've heard is not everybody necessarily uses Facebook. And I did a debrief call with Nick Robinson from Zero, and he said it's still a perfect time for us to focus on community. We're still small enough, and if we wait too long, it could get away from us. So I'm excited to hear David's update around education and content, and then the conversations we're having with Dorothy Kilroy, who's an OG Levels member. That's all I have.
All right. On the ops side, a few quick updates. We have a lot of order states that are stuck customers are stuck at different points of the order flow. So they might have signed up for levels, but not yet filled out their consult form, or get lost at any of the other steps. So we're taking these one by one and kind of chipping away at them. So with order validation now, this is the state where we check on consults before we send them through to the physician network. So we're proactively messaging customers who are stuck in consult flow who haven't yet filled it out. So this is a big improvement. We're reducing the number of abandoned orders. When we first started checking this out, we had orders dating back 2 or 3 months. And so we brought this all into like the 30-day range. We reach out 3 times. If someone doesn't answer after that point, we refund their order and invite them to sign up when they're able to complete. Next update, TruePill. We've moved our fulfillment as foreshadowed from Hayward to New York for a majority of orders. We're still going to fill some orders out of Hayward for the West Coast, but majority is from New York. So there's much better capacity there. We should have much improved scaling capabilities there and kind of nip a lot of the packaging issues that we were seeing in Hayward with the retraining of a brand new team in New York. So that is live this week. The first few orders went out on Tuesday and ramping up over the next week or so until it's all moved over. This does have some operational challenges. We now have to manage packaging inventory in 2 different places, and we can run short in one location, need to overnight to the other location, trying to minimize as much of that as possible with the TruePill team. Josh mentioned Wearable Challenge 5 kicked off right after Thanksgiving. So we're about a week in, and so far looks great. Active involvement in the WhatsApp, and we'll share out the cohort 4 learnings and results pretty soon. And then finally, wanted to announce a new program, Everyone on Support. So a bunch of different companies do this in different ways. It's just a good way for everyone across the team to interact with our customers, to learn what their issues are, to work with our internal tools and kind of solve the problems that we do on a daily basis. So there's a levels.link/EOS sign up form in Notion. We're going to have 2 to 3 slots every other week, ideally targeted for our high volume days. So you can give us a hand. We'll find a time that works for everyone. And together we can kind of do tickets in a paired way. We'll help you out. Don't worry, you're not on the hook. We'll kind of walk you through, point you to the documentation, let you click the buttons, and then kind of work for an hour or so and see how many you can solve. So should be a fun way to connect with customers. You can do email or live chat. And Mercy will share more details around that. But for now, you can go and sign up. I think the first slots open up next Tuesday, and we'll keep this going on a rolling basis, open to everyone. So if you have an hour to spare on any one of those days, we'd love your help, and might be insightful for you as well in whatever you're working on. Cool. One more slide. Just our November numbers to date on NPS. So this is the full month of November. We're at 64 on NPS, which is basically how likely are you to recommend levels to a friend. We put this up right before we deliver the monthly report. So pretty great score there. And you can see notes or any comments in the user feedback fire hose channel, or the user feedback channel rather. And then on CSAT for the full month of November, happiness score of 96, so 97% great, and a small handful of OKs or not goods, which are usually people who get stuck in order validation or we're not able to solve their problem for some reason. But for the most part, great job on the support side, and we're keeping our members happy. So we'll update all of our language there. That's it for me.
Awesome. Coming to us live from what looks like a road trip. Weekly beta trends. Yep. So just showing the number of shipment starts, users starting the program over the past 2 weeks. I want to highlight, obviously, the partner code stuff here. We had, over the holiday, a bit of a slowdown in our regular codes, with the exception, of course, of Broken Brain, which absolutely just orders of magnitude ahead of any other code. So amazing to see that velocity through the holiday. We've got a good queue here coming into December of orders. So nothing has really slowed down other than that October spike. So we're still maintaining velocity here. Sam.
Yeah, so still have 10.4 in cash. We crushed our revenue goal for November, and we're on track to do the same for December. So keeping it up, mostly from these podcasts. Broken Brain really, you'll see on the next slide how the bar, there it is. You can see Broken Brain makes all of our other numbers. If you recall, the week of November 8th was a new record for us. And the week of November 15th kind of blew all the other ones out of the water. So that's pretty cool.
Huge. Mercy.
Instagram, we reached 10,000 followers, so now we can have swipe up. So that's a big, exciting thing. We can now link to blog posts, IGTVs, all the exciting things that were mentioned in. A lot of interesting things this week. People sharing different variations between the cookies and bananas and the difference each person has. We also posted a photo asking people how they did on Thanksgiving, and a lot of people were just sharing how the difference between walking one day and then the next day when they ate their leftovers, they had a massive spike because they just sat on the couch. So that was interesting to see. Next slide. Twitter, also the same thing. A lot of people were just commenting on just how they did comparing leftovers to actual Thanksgiving Day where they enjoyed hanging out and walking around versus the next day. You can see it right there on the center photo of the guy who said Thanksgiving leftovers, he had a 4 versus the day before an 8. So it's pretty interesting. The following on Twitter is also increasing. We're almost at 9,000 followers. I think we'll be there probably by the end of the weekend is my guess. So things are happening fast. That's it for me.
Awesome. And podcast update.
All right. So the podcast train keeps moving quickly. I think we're at close to 125 secured, recorded, or released. Continue to get feedback from a few people over the last couple of weeks that they have never seen results like this for what we're doing, which is really cool and a testament to our team and our network. Most notably, over the last couple of weeks, we locked in Casey on Ben Greenfield Fitness in January, which is absolutely huge. This is definitely like a top 5 overall get in the health and fitness space. And, you know, as inevitable as we kind of thought this was, it really wasn't. So this is a big XL for me personally. I'm really happy that this is locked in. We also got verbal confirmation that we'll be on the Whoop podcast in likely January. So that's really exciting given the overlap in audiences. Next slide. So just an update, kind of the top shows to look out for. As everyone has mentioned, Broken Brain has killed it. And I just noted that, you know, over the course of the first 2 weeks, we're at double the pace of Kevin Rose. I think Kevin Rose was around 150 unit sales in those first 2 weeks, which is pretty incredible given where Kevin Rose is today. And then, yeah, we're recording Greenfield and Bulletproof Radio both on January 13th. I'm going to talk to those teams to make sure that the release dates are a bit spread out from one another. But those are really 2 of the other top shows that I think are going to generate, you know, potentially similar sales volume to Broken Brain. So we'll keep an eye out for those. And then I guess one other thing to say about these is, like, you know, beyond the immediate aftermath of these shows being released, the content will remain, you know, extraordinarily valuable to us in our marketing efforts in, you know, the years to come, really. When we eventually turn on our growth engine and start doing paid advertising, you know, almost no doubt, I put a lot of money on the fact that the content from like these 3 shows will likely be, you know, our best performing Facebook and Instagram ads. So these are enormously valuable for us as a company, even beyond kind of like the first month or 2 that we're tracking sales from them. Next slide. Yeah, so we kind of sneakily did our first partner video shoot earlier this week down in Florida. Typically, you know, I would be on site for a shoot like this. You know, Josh had also intended to go down to Florida for this, but given COVID and Thanksgiving, we weren't able to make it happen. So, you know, shout out to Barwis, their staff, and then Tony, our videographer, who went down for really just managing like an incredibly logistically complex day. Typically, you do 1 to 2 featured interviews in a day. We did 6 with 4 NHL players, 1 physical therapist, and Mike Barwis himself. Also did a ton of B-roll of them working out in a variety of capacities and having protein shakes and eating. So I think this video is going to be pretty amazing. I've started watching some of the interview footage, and yeah, it's pretty cool. In the near term, an asset like this is going to be more used for sort of business development purposes. You know, for example, maybe with press and kind of telling the story of the levels application and peak performance in professional sports. You know, long term, we'd be cutting up an asset like this to use potentially for paid advertising on Facebook and Instagram, you know, email marketing, and our website. Next slide. And then, yeah, just some miscellaneous quick updates. The conversation is progressing, frankly, uncharacteristically fast with Equinox. Their executive leadership is testing levels, including their former CEO, current executive chairman, their COO, their head of Equinox Ventures, their head of national programming, head of innovation, and they're very interested and are doing a lot of back channeling within our network for people like Mike Barwis, who's been talking to them on a daily basis. So exciting stuff there. MLB, we were selected to be featured in kind of what's referred to as their winter meetings. This is an annual sports science and technology summit that they put on specifically for the 30 MLB teams and the commissioner's office. So this year, given COVID, they're doing a presentation featuring a select number of companies that they think are the most interesting. So we applied for and got picked to be featured in that deck. And then we'll likely have a number of follow-ups with specific MLB teams after that. And then a lot of conversations with just the other kind of top performance and health technology companies and nutrition companies in our space, like Aura, Hyperice, Athletic Greens, Organifi. And, you know, these are incredibly helpful conversations beyond marketing collaborations. We're doing a lot of horse trading with contacts and frankly, just learning from people who have traveled down the road that we're walking currently. A couple of other things there, but I'll wrap up. That's it for me.
Awesome. Solid. Thank you. All right, content. Haney's first update.
Yeah, exciting. So yeah, we've since last time we were all together, we've posted 3 new articles. There's a great Ben Bickman piece. This is the first of 3 parts that he's going to do as really kind of an ultimate guide to insulin. I definitely recommend this. It's a great example of a little bit tighter, a little bit more direct piece than some of the longer thought leadership pieces we've been doing. The other piece we put up is about artificial sweeteners. It's actually one I wrote as part of the kind of interview process for coming on board here. Some interesting information in there. Again, a good example of how we're kind of formatting some new content, breaking it into sections. And then we just last night put up metabolic health and menopause. This is another one of these thought leader pieces hitting on one of these sort of core foundational subjects by a writer we hadn't worked with before named Jennifer Welsh. And that's a really nice piece as well. Next slide. So as Josh mentioned earlier, we have a new editorial calendar. This kind of takes the place of some of the disparate documents that were around before to kind of plan out the content that we're doing, but also to capture ideas and to capture things that have been published. So you can find this out under the content wiki. It's really useful to look at our content from a number of different directions. So, you know, if you want to see the kind of stuff that we're planning and what's coming up, which I'll talk about a little bit in a minute, you can sort that way. If you want to look at what have we done around a particular topic, you know, maybe you want to send something to somebody and, you know, who's interested in the exercise aspect, you can sort on the topic of exercise here and see all the articles we've done around that, both interviews and foundational pieces. And then when you or anybody sends us ideas, this is where they're going to start to get captured. So we'll grab, you know, the conversation that might have come along with an email or a Slack chat. We'll put it in the notes here and we'll create a line in here. So this will be, and then those ideas will slowly turn into, you know, things that are in progress in editing. So definitely, you know, go out and take a look, play around with this. It's really, it's a nice comprehensive view of what we're up to. Next slide. And then of course, as it is an editorial calendar, you can also change the view from the default view of the table into a calendar view. And where this is going to come into play is to kind of see what's upcoming. So with pieces that we are working on, we'll start to schedule them out. This is our tentative plan for December. So you can see some of the content that's coming up here. There's some interviews. The Jack Johnson interview hopefully will go up next week. Josh had a really nice conversation with him, NHL player. We're going to start doing some kind of shorter posts, things that have been good ideas that have been kicking around a while, like 10 people to follow in metabolic health and 10 books to read about metabolic health. So Casey and I are putting together his initial list, and then we're going to put those out on Slack to kind of you know, socialize a little bit and get everybody else's input. We're going to do some kind of shorter versions of some of the longer stuff we have, like a weight loss primer. This is an idea that came from David of, hey, can we do something that's just a much quicker kind of read that'll be really useful in app in that Learn tab. But also we're going to put it up on the blog and see how it does there. We'll keep obviously those longer posts up. We'll link back to them, but really one of the main goals of the content over the next couple of months is to give people more ways to get into these subjects, to get into these topics, to get into metabolic health. Sometimes it's going to be a longer piece, sometimes it's going to be a shorter piece, and then try to increase the amount that people are reading more on our site, that they're coming in and then hanging out. So any questions on content? Thanks.
Exciting stuff. Thanks,
Ready.
Mike.
Thank you. Cool. We are on to the share of the week, or personal share rather. Tom, go ahead and kick us off.
Oh boy, I'm not ready. I've been leaning into Christmas, which has been nice. It's a unique year in our household in terms of tradition and not being able to execute on the normal traditions, but we got a tree and we decorated everything this past weekend, and we've been playing Christmas music a lot. So I've been enjoying that quite a bit. And then on the level side, I've been really excited about, I've got like 5 to 10 calls in the next couple of weeks with people who lead marketing and partnerships at a lot of other top health technology and nutrition companies. And I'm just super excited to learn and triangulate best practices as we look ahead to the next 12 months.
Nice. How?
Yeah, I'm just so excited to see we hit some scaling issues on our engineering side because we growing so fast.
Yeah, that's awesome. I don't think Lori's joined us. Lori, jump in if you are on the call. If not, Sam.
Yeah, I'm excited just for the pace of product iteration. It's been really exciting to just see how quickly we're iterating on things, and how we're when customers request something, we make a note, and very quickly thereafter we ship it. And it's exciting to see. I think our customers feel that pace as well. Like it almost seems like David's feature announcements are a feature in and of themselves because it gets people really excited about it.
For sure. Yeah, I love seeing the chatter on social of people reminding each other of what we're working on. It's people are paying attention to the pace. John.
Yeah, on the level side, I'm excited about the in-app content features that we have been exploring this week. We have found a very powerful and extensible solution that will allow us to provide a better experience for our members and for content editors. And personally, I'm excited. The rainy season is over here, and we expect to have dry and sunny days until the end of January here in Colombia.
Nice. Yeah, opposite going on up here, but that's how it goes, I guess. Ms.
On the work side, excited for a lot of the Truepill progress. That New York move is a big one, and then we also have the physician network coming online as soon as 2 weeks from now in December. So those are some big rocks that are going to be in place, which is great. On the personal side, seeing some family this weekend and then have a few days off early next. But simultaneously, it sounds like California is getting a little worse. So hoping things look okay and we all stay healthy and well. So yeah, that's about it.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, Dom.
Yeah, the fall weather and the research, of course, the IRB process and associated red tape, getting through that and getting a lot of good feedback. And actually it had a number of calls lined up, including Mark Lambert, the strength and conditioning coach for the Tampa Lightning. And they are very interested in metabolic optimization. So I'll be scheduling that call maybe over the weekend or on Monday. So.
Thanks, Dom. Haney.
Yeah, I'm professionally, I'm excited to have the machine start to kind of get up and running, having the edit calendar in place. You know, I sort of think in spreadsheets, so being able to just stare at that and sort it 9 different ways gives me a lot of happiness. Personally, I'm a week now into wearing levels. It would be hard to say I'm excited about what it's telling me, but I'll say I'm excited about the opportunity to make improvement. There's basically nothing but blue sky for my diet.
That's what we're here for. All right. Yeah, I mean, for me, professionally, it's been a really fun couple of weeks having a lot of great conversations, both on the hiring front and also doing some exploring of the hardware landscape for additional analytes. And it's just one of the most interesting things was a conversation I had actually yesterday with a company that is still kind of in stealth, but they're developing a really exciting potential biosensored technology. And they basically are shifting in a significant way their plans because of what Levels is accomplishing. They are looking at what just happened with the seed round and with A16 signing on, and basically the who's who of consumer getting behind this real-time biowearable trend. And they're saying that's the evidence we did not anticipate it was possible, which is why we were looking at clinical, but now we're very meaningfully looking at wellness and the general space. And like, that's crazy. You know, we're affecting business plans around the world. This is a company that is not here in the US. So awesome and exciting. And then on the personal side, of course, had a great holiday and looking forward to another one sometime here in the next week or so as we start to ramp into Christmas, which is my favorite holiday season. Evan.
So I've been shifting my sleep schedule with daylight savings time to wake up at dawn and go to bed closer at dark. And then in the afternoons, go bicycling more. And I found this really great new hill, really steep. And then on the top of the ridge, you can see the Richmond refinery, beautiful industrial facility. And on the other side, Golden Gate Bridge and the bay, and it's just amazing. Real favorite bike spot, and it's very like easy to get to. So that's like something cool personal I've been doing.
Nice. Yeah, bikes are one of my favorite things in the world. Donato.
Yeah, I think you know, Sam had mentioned just like the pace at which, you know, we continue to iterate. I mean, like product and engineering team, it's pretty amazing. Like every week, like I feel like I'm getting pushed an update on the alpha side, and it's just awesome to see all that work come together. And then still, just like everybody who's interested in Levels, whether it's Toby from Shopify, which is like an amazing company, or Tony Robbins, like that one's a huge one. So it's just super awesome. That's all.
Agreed. Casey. Oh.
Yeah. So professionally, I just want to give a major shout out and thank you to Dom D'Agostino, who's been doing just a huge amount of work to get the study off the ground for January and submitted the IRB, and has just done tons of follow-up and legwork on that. So that's very exciting progress, and huge thank you to him for all that work. I think also professionally, just couldn't be more excited to be working with Haney on expanding and refining the editorial operations. There's huge momentum already happening. And I think, you know, big picture, I think through our content, we can have just such an impact on shaping the narrative around, you know, the future of metabolic health and what good health means. And I can already see, you know, Mike's experience and execution moving that ball forward, you know, at a even more rapid pace than we have been. So super excited about that.
Yeah, for sure. Mercy.
I'm excited about all the product improvements that are happening. Those seem super cool, and that's going to be really helpful for the members. Personally, I'm going to try to decorate for Christmas this weekend, so I'm excited for that.
Nice. Gabriel, wrap us up.
Yeah, I continue to be really excited about the quality and velocity of all the content, both the podcast content and the blog posts. I was really enjoying the artificial sweetener article that Haney just posted. And then on the personal side, I've recently stepped away from coffee and I'm getting back into the world of herbal tea, which I used to be really into and haven't touched in a long time. So that's exciting for me.
Nice. All right. Let's see. We are going to step into a quick story of the day by Mike DiDonato. He's going to walk us through his health stack.
It's not a story, it's a share. And I think I actually tried to duck out of this as I was running out of ideas. And I had no idea how I arrived at this, but we're going to go with it. I guess like health stack. I guess probably helps to talk about like things that, you know, matter the most to me when it comes to like health and well-being. And I'd say probably like the first is just like feeling and being at my best every day. And for me personally, like it has a lot to do with, I guess, preparedness and performance, whether when we're talking about like physical and both mental performance, whether it's like working out regularly or eating well, it enables me to just like feel and perform better personally and professionally. And then I guess like the other big part is, you know, I want to live like both long and well. I guess you could call that like, I want to almost like increase my life and my health span. So we could start with fitness. You know, the Apple Watch and Whoop for me, I'd say, you know, more importantly is the Apple Watch. I've used it for a really long time. And I guess this isn't just relating to the fitness portion, but I think like Pete Drucker said, if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. So the Apple Watch and Whoop, I wouldn't say it's an accountability thing, but it's just given me awareness of things that just weren't always clearly visible, whether that's like pace on a run or like a predicted VO2 max or any other biometrics. And then obviously we have to have levels in here. I think online, I think I've seen most people say that they use levels just for nutrition. But for me, and I think I talked with David and Josh a few times with this, it's actually like a benchmark for like how intense my performance was for the given activity. You know, I do most of my exercise and workouts in a completely fasted state. And then the other thing is it's given me an understanding of like, or clarity of what I can actually do. Like in like the fitness and performance industry, I think there's like this conception that you need to fuel up with carbs or you're gonna bonk. And personally for me, I've seen that doesn't happen. So it's been pretty cool. We could bounce to the next one. Nutrition, there is only one. There is only one. It is levels. I don't really think I have to talk about it much, but for those of you who don't know, like I had a really big aha moment when I first started using levels. I was eating something on a daily basis that I thought was super healthy for me and like a really good choice. It's, you know, it's advertised as low in the glycemic index. There's 20 superfoods and there's no preservatives. So this particular item had to be refrigerated. But when I first started using CGM and levels, I found out that this particular item was sending me to the pre-diabetic zone. And I was basically doing this to myself on a daily basis and I had no insight or context previously. So that's just one of many examples. So we can go to the next slide, Josh. And then I think it's actually like I did this a little bit out of order. I think I should have probably put recovery and sleep first. This one's been huge for me personally. I like to live an active lifestyle. And especially over the last couple of years, I've been more curious about understanding how I can continue to push that limit. So just like a few things here. Apple Watch, I use like a third-party sleep tracking app. And then Whoop obviously has a recovery metric. The data between the two can be, I'd say when I first started using Whoop was pretty different, but now they've become like directionally aligned. I'd like to learn more about both of the things that are being measured, but I'm even more curious about some of the research that we're going to do here at Levels when it comes to recovery. And then the two on the bottom, I actually just got hooked with a Theragun. So anybody who doesn't know what a Theragun is, it's pretty amazing. It's like a percussion massage device. And I don't know, I won't do it justice, but it's been kind of like life-changing when you, like I put my body through a little bit of a pounding and just having that, you know, I have like a bunch of myofascial tools like foam rollers and lacrosse balls, but this really is just like another level. And then the final one, Calm. So over the last few weeks, I started using Calm. I just realized that sleep for me is huge. And I think we all know that, but being like more intentional and seeing like all the different areas that I can optimize to improve my sleep quality. And one of the big ones with Calm is just like the nighttime routine. And I think I was even telling David this week that recently I experimented with they do bedtime stories. I had Matthew McConaughey read me a bedtime story. That was pretty interesting. And then Josh, we can go to the next slide. Other, so I had to throw Brooks on here. I run a lot. and I have like Fred Flintstone feet, meaning I have super flat feet with no arch. And, I put a lot of miles in, and, Brooks has definitely been like the best shoe that I personally have ever worn. And then the 3 on the bottom, Equip. So I don't really take many supplements at all. But, I live an active lifestyle and I don't want to lose weight. So I need to find supplementation with protein in order to eliminate losing lean muscle mass. And, shout out to Anthony and Alex for putting out like really quality products. If you guys haven't tried it, we do have a code. Their protein's amazing. And I've tested some of their other products. Nike Training Club. Let me see, time check. Nike Training Club. I don't really use apps like for working out. I like to program my own things. However, when COVID first happened, I was living with my sister and her family, and she had us kind of like on lockdown. So my only option to work out was in like a 200 square foot basement, and it was really cool. Nike Training Club, they made it free for everybody. If anyone's looking to check a workout, I highly recommend it. I still use it for mobility and like some yoga workouts. And then the other one here, YouTube. So YouTube's awesome. Like you can literally learn anything, but just for this slide, the 2 big things for me, I'll start with, I've had a lot of injuries, and I don't think we always have time to go to a doctor or physical therapist. And I think we'd be pretty surprised that like for a lot of things, we can actually fix or start the healing process. And over the last 5 years, I've been really interested in like body mechanics. And there's some really, really cool channels, like some really well-respected people showing you how to fix things. Like 2 things in particular for me that I learned was like, basically I used to get runner's knee all the time. And like I thought it was a knee problem, but it has actually nothing to do with your knee. And it's just been super fascinating. Like you can literally go on YouTube and learn anything that you want about the human body. And then next, Josh. Things to add. So I think we probably all know about these products. Aura is probably the one that I want to add next, and probably should, considering like I get asked about it all the time. 8 Sleep, definitely. Elysium. So I think probably everyone knows about this product, but if you don't, they have an interesting test that like maps your biological age. I'm super curious about that. And then Hyperice, who I actually feel like Tom is like talking to everybody on this slide. They have some really interesting products for recovery that I'd love to try out. And that's it.
Cool. Yeah, this is pretty interesting. I think we should, Haney, just going to throw this out there, but I think the health stack at the individual level might be an interesting kind of content vector, like everybody going through what they use day to day to stay sharp, especially in a company like ours. So anyway, yeah, thanks, Mike, for throwing that together. And everybody generally, you're all encouraged to explore and experiment and share. We have the Slack channels, we have a health and wellness organization. So let's keep each other sharp and share these tips and tricks. We do have a discount code Notion page. So like Mike was mentioning, Equip is on there. I think Perfect Keto is on there. I believe we have more codes floating through email. So let's try and consolidate all those in the Notion page so we can all take advantage. That said, we're here at the end. Appreciate everybody's contributions during the week on the meeting. And yeah, next week we will do this again. So have a great weekend.
Bye, everyone.
Yep. See ya.